on the
you want me to stay here,
MMA Junkie Radio pre-show was Danny saying, "I'm Batman."
Oh,
I'm Batman.
Danny. John Rico says Dark Knight by the Blasters. Dark Knight by the Blasters.
Thursday, August 24th, 2017. This is MMA Junkie Radio's pre-show, and it is already off the rails.
And I am Batman.
Danny's Batman. And Dan Tom is like a little version of E Honda with his hair up right now. The real little version.
I actually
big.
was almost Robin for a Halloween costume 3 years in a row, but it just got sabotaged. But it was the funniest thing. It was 1960s
You'd
Robin.
be a good Robin.
Well, it would have been a gross Robin because it was the 1960s costume that was super tight and left nothing to the imagination, like nothing. And that was part of the gimmick of the costume.
Did you ever hear what Conan O'Brien did regarding that?
No.
Okay. How did this... I'm going to fuck this up. All right. I know it was when he was at Harvard, and it was Burt Young, right? Is the name of the guy that played Robin, I think?
Yeah. But wasn't Burt Young the guy that played Paulie as well?
Maybe. I know it's a Burt something. So he shows up to Harvard.
Burt
to do,
Ward.
Burt Ward. Okay.
There we go.
He shows up to do a speech at Harvard, and Conan O'Brien comes in, I think dressed as the Joker, steals, because he brought the actual Robin costume. He runs into the auditorium, steals it. Ha! You'll never catch me, and then takes off and runs off with the Robin costume and holds it for ransom. Like, called him and actually had, like, ransom calls and stuff like that.
That's great. When was this?
How cool is that? This is when he was in college at Harvard.
Oh, my God.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah. George is here, Danny.
Hi, George.
He hasn't put his mic on. Don't be silly.
What's up?
Hi. I emailed you with the link you were looking for.
Oh, really? So why isn't it in that timeline?
You had the same problem too?
No. He was talking about a King Mo one. I went back and I found the tweet and I found the SoundCloud.
Huh? Because ours are so noticeable with that little. Can you get that in? With the little electrical charge thing, whatever that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't adjust any of the settings on the MMA on SiriusXM Twitter, just because I don't want to be responsible if somebody says I messed something up.
Yeah.
So it might be that. But yeah, I sent you the link, so you have the SoundCloud link now.
I'm the king of not liking to mess things up. I go to extra lengths.
You just don't touch it.
Because you feel so stupid when you do. Especially with technology nowadays, like just one little thing when it comes to like MMAJunkie.com or the YouTube, you hit one little button and like you could screw everything up.
Yeah, like the entire day's show is gone or something like that.
Yeah.
Coming up to 30.
George, you know who we need to get back on? The real John Jones on Twitter. Dude, his tweets have been so funny. And he had a good sense of humor. Isn't it John Jones?
Yeah, it actually is.
Hi, guys. Coming up at 10.
Alrighty. Thank you, Danny.
You are welcome. Coming up at 5 now.
Shut up, Danny.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Go.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, You are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes. RA's co-host, back east, Danny Otto, will handle all the producing duties. Dan Tom joining the team this week. He's hovering around. You might see him on camera. What's up, everybody?
He's handling the video producing duties.
Is he?
Yeah, he's been doing it himself for the most part here.
Word.
He's getting better every day. I like it.
Today's a day where we're going to focus on enough. I want to hear the bets that everyone's making, whether it's the water cooler bets or if you're in a legal spot somewhere on planet Earth. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Goes and I can walk 20 paces here up to the counter, and we can legally place a wager if we'd like. Others live in parts of the world where gambling is legal. It's as simple as that. In the United States, it's not. I realize people do it, but, you know, you can kind of keep that to yourself, or maybe you can tell us about a friend of yours and the bets they're making. Anyway, the latest is Conor McGregor coming back at 350. Floyd Mayweather. What am I saying? I'm a gambler. I know how to say this. Floyd Mayweather minus 550. It's always the favorite first. And then Conor McGregor plus 350. So nothing's changed since the end of the show yesterday. If you'll recall, at the beginning of the show, it was Mayweather minus 525. Something happened. I think the boys from TMT, one of them must have slipped out, done the 50 G's that we're talking about. It went up to 550. But regardless, that's that. Here's a couple others that some people will play. Will it go 9 full rounds? It's called a proposition bet. If you think it won't go, you got to lay 160 to win 100. If you think it will go, it's 1 to win 130. Also, knockouts and decisions. If you think McGregor will knock him out, plus 350. Same as just taking Conor McGregor. So take Conor McGregor. If you're going to do it, take Conor McGregor, because the last thing you need is for Conor McGregor to win a decision. And guess what? If you took the KO, you don't get paid. McGregor by decision is plus 1,000. Now, if you really feel like that's what's going to happen, that's why that line's so high. Don't take the KO. Don't just take Conor McGregor. If you really feel strong about the decision, then you want to cash in $1,000 on a $100 play. Now that we're past fantasy talk, let's get to the real stuff. Mayweather by KO is minus 170. 170 to win 100. Mayweather by decision is plus 160. That's not the end of the world bet, because Mayweather, even though he's saying what he's saying, 8-ounce gloves, you know, first debut boxer versus one of the all-time greatest, all that talk aside, one thing Mayweather's told us in the past is, you know, oh, I'm coming for the win. I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to do this. And then guess what? It's always a decision. It's been a decision for the last 10 years. So that's not the end of the world to fall into that. But again, that's when he was fighting high-caliber boxers. And lastly, the draw is plus 2,500.
You got a new bracelet?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Thank you.
Sorry. All right.
Destiny Forever. Check it out. Ensign Anyway. He really brings it, man. He does a great job. I put in an order a few weeks ago, and I mean, he got on it. He sent it, and he's in Japan, and the address, the what do you call it, return address, was from Japan. That was the package that I went to pick up.
Oh, okay.
That I was telling you about.
That's dope. All right.
Thank you. This one's
George.
called.
It's the one I wanted to frost or ice or something.
No, it's called. It has something to do with the protection of your well-being. God, what was it? I got another one, too.
Did you?
Yeah.
What
color? Red and black.
Fuck! Oh, sorry.
We're on serious.
Those are, well, yeah, but those are the two that I wanted to get.
Really?
Yeah. Hey,
it's like Guardian Angel or something like that, but I think it's something a little harder, but it might be Guardian Angel. I don't know.
Well, I'm glad that you started off today's show with gambling talk. I am going to take off my mic and go over to the counter, like you just said, and I'm going to try and bring over an individual who talked to Dan and I this morning about a different type of bet that you can make, especially if you like Floyd Mayweather, that you always talk about your tail. Mm-hmm. Your tail will be wagging.
Why isn't he here?
What do you mean?
Yeah, we should have started off the show with this person.
Well, I just thought of it right now.
Okay. Well, we have Joby Sanchez coming up.
Interesting.
We do? All right. Let's do it in a few minutes because Joby Sanchez will join us at 10:20 a.m. Pacific, 1:20 p.m. Eastern.
I don't even know if he can, but I'll see if he can.
Okay. And that'll be our guest for the day. So, sorry, I'm throwing off here. There's already baseball off and running. I had a 5-teamer yesterday.
And George, oh, did you?
Yeah.
Let's not forget.
I'm pretty stoked.
Champions League draw.
Did that happen already?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into it. Let's get it over with. What's the group man using?
CSKA Moscow.
Oh, here's what I don't like about it.
It's a long flight. But
we'll beat them. It's the flight. Yeah. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Manchester United, Basel, and Benfica. Hey, man.
Aren't they from
do you
Belgium? Where's Basel from? Oh, they're German, I think.
That's a good draw.
Howie will tell me. Yeah, and Portugal, Benfica. Okay. As long as Eusebio hasn't come back, I think we should be good there, too. Cool. What are some of the other groups? Is there a Grupo de la Muerte?
I didn't see them all.
No?
Yeah.
Scan it.
That's just a screenshot.
Oh, that's just it? Okay. Well, I'm happy with that.
I can pull it up, though.
5 UK teams. No, 6. If you throw in, I think Celtic is representing the Scottish Premier League. So 5 English-based teams and 6 UK-based teams are in the Champions League, which last few years, I mean, that's been dominated by Real Madrid. If they were to win this year, it'd be 4 out of 5. That's quite a run, man, especially in modern-day football. Back in the 50s, you could say, well, shit. If you were good like the Celtics and you had a good group, you only had to beat like 3 other teams and you were the champ, so it wasn't that difficult. But nowadays, I'll be the first to take off my sombrero. Yesterday goes, got to give you shit.
Me?
One of the teams that I had in my parlay
Oh, I know what happened.
was getting a perfect game thrown against them. A perfect game.
Hill.
That means as many batters that went to the plate, they were being sent back to the dugout. No one got on base. No walks, no errors.
No,
I feel like Johnny Bench.
Wasn't it a no-hitter?
No, it was a perfect game. Through like 8, then through 9, I think someone got on in an error. So the perfect game was out, but it was still a no-hitter. And, of course, it was a shutout. However, the other pitcher was pitching his own shutout. I remembered putting in the play early in the morning, but these days have been so hectic here with all this Maymax stuff going on and, you know, catching up on all these business emails that I have or whatever. And then at one point I saw that scrolling on the TV. Oh, man, okay. Let's check this out. And then I looked to verify. I go, what do you know? It's my team that's getting waxed here. Or not really my team. It's Ioli's Pirates. Mm-hmm. And but it's one of the teams that I bet. It's the first one that I checked. Anyhow, I grab a bite to eat. I'm catching up on Snowfall. Is that the name of the new show we're watching? Snowfall. And I go, oh, shit, what happened? And by then it was over. A walk-off on behalf of Pittsburgh. So from perfect game to no-hitter to at least a shutout, all of it would have been impressive. And, I mean, make no mistake, this is a great season the Dodgers are having regardless. But this really would have been like icing.
I mean, I don't want to sound
like they fucking lost, man. I couldn't believe it. So then I started going, well, let's see how the other ones did. I had a 7.5 under game, 6-1. I go, whoo, close one. But when you bet a 5-teamer, you just know that this is a long shot.
More than likely, yeah.
I do them in parlay groups is what it's called. It's not technically a 5-teamer. It's 5 14 parlays is what it is. So really, if I win 4, I'll still make a little bit of dough. But if I win 5, then all of the groups hit. Anyhow, I'm 2 for 2. I go, man, it should be nice to get 2 more, and then whatever happens in the 5th happens. I checked the next couple, and I had an under. It won by like 2 runs. I'm like, cool, 3-0, tails wagging. I go to the next one. They won earlier in the day. I'm 4-0. I know right away that I'm going to make a little bit of dough. Because it's $25, and the parlay pays, like, each of those parlays pays about $250, $300, $350, depending on dogs. And some of them were dogs, like Pittsburgh, for example. So that will erase the other 4 that will lose at minus 25 each, which would be 100. So it'd be a profit, you know, of a couple $100. So I'm thinking, cool. All I know is I made a little bit. And I haven't played one of these in a while. I just haven't played that much baseball lately. So I go, and I know I'm 4-0, and I check the last one. And the last one, we were down 3-4 in the 9th. So I'm like, oh, I'm hitting the Gamecast on ESPN. I'm trying to find it on TV. And then all of a sudden it says final. And I read final. I go, fuck. Without reading that we scored 3 in the 9th. Oh, wow. Kansas City scored 3 in the 9th. We. I'm not Vegas Dave here. But the team I played on, something happened, yeah. And
well, I had to, right?
So that was big, too, for anyone that had minus 1.5. That's a whole separate other thing. But it hit. Huge day.
The no-hitter, I don't want to sound like a dork. Yeah, it sucks the no-hitter went away. But losing the game on top of that, like if you're the pitcher, you look around and go, guys, what do you want from me? Yeah, I gave up a home run. but come on. Put some fucking runs on the board. We're the Dodgers. We're killing it.
Yeah.
That's a terrible.
Well, the Dodgers could say we have been. I mean, give us a break. We took a night off. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. You know, he had only thrown like 73 pitches through 8 complete innings. That's amazing. Yeah, so he was just schooling the Pirates.
25 off.
And the Pirates won. I couldn't believe it. What's all this? Oh, the groups.
That's the draw.
All right. Benfica, Manchester United, FC Basel, CSKA Moscow.
That's Group A.
That's
Group B.
Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain. So that's 2 good teams. That's the best team in France and the best team in Germany. Anderlecht is Belgium.
PSG's taking a hit.
How do you say it? Belgium? Belgium?
Belgium?
You know how you say?
Yeah.
They're German. They're French.
Well,
what are they? They're Belgian.
I think you could say Belgium.
All right. Celtic is Scottish. Somebody tell us. I'm dying to know. How do you say it towards someone that's from Belgium?
Somebody call in and let us know. I know people love.
Because if you're from the Netherlands or Holland, whatever you want to call it,
like a Dean
you'd
thing.
say they're Dutch. You don't say Hollandaise or the Netherlandish or nothing like that. So I'm curious what you say about Belgium. At MMA Junkie Radio, at MMA Junkie George, at the Goes. Hit us up. Dan, what's your Twitter? I have it memorized.
At MM.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, of course. We've got him on the
analyst.
show. Yeah. At the MM Analyst. There you go. All right. Chelsea, British, English. Atletico Madrid, Roma, and FK Qarabag? Where the fuck are they from?
I've seen them. I don't know where they're from, though.
Wow. All right. Juventus,
group,
Barcelona. Ooh, that's solid.
Olympiacos.
Olympiacos from Greece and Sporting CP. I think they're Portuguese. Spartak Moscow, Sevilla. So Russian, Spanish. Liverpool and NK Maribor. So they have to do some traveling, too. I don't know where Maribor is.
Got a good group.
Sevilla, I think they have a beef with. I think it was Sevilla that got them in the Europa a few years ago. Shakhtar, he's got a team? Shakhtar Donetsk. I think they're Russian. Manchester City, Napoli, Feyenoord. And the last one. Oh, no, there's a couple more. Monaco, FC Porto, Besiktas, Turkish. I know that. RB Leipzig, Germany. And last one, Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Tottenham, and Apoel Nicosia.
Sounds.
How is it that Nicosia, Qarabag, Shamatkar's team, what is going on here? Like, you would think there's just, like, maybe the 6th place English team can take care of that. I mean, I guess it is. They're probably the champion is what it is what it boils down to. All right. Anyhow, Manchester United, that you know, we're running out of spots on that bandwagon. So I don't know what to tell you. We're in the Champions League, and we're going to compete for all the cups that are possible. And Zlatan Ibrahimovic signed today.
And I love his quote.
Yeah.
The unfinished business. Let's finish what I started.
You see when he was shaking hand with the Red Devil? He made a deal with the Red Devil. So that's cool. All right. Now, I'm going to get the pad and paper, and I would like to write down your plays. What are you doing this week? Is it just I'm watching it for funsies? I'm not watching it. I'd like to know what your stand is going to be. If you have a water cooler bet, Chipotle versus Jack in the Box, you know what's out there. What's out there for you? I bet my neighbor $50. I want to hear it. I want to know what everybody's riding into, because on Monday there's going to be a lot of pies in people's faces. There's going to be a lot of I told you so's. I think I'm going to be a massive prick and get my retweet on. I'm going to dig on a lot of these people that have been just lipping off because lipping off is cool. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to dig and find some of those. And, you know, I think you have to pay the price. You have to pay the price for what you said, because I have no problem with somebody telling me McGregor. It's the way they tell me McGregor. And when I'm being told McGregor, the other guy don't have a shot, you'll see first round KO, starch. It could have been Mayweather of age 30. I mean, come on, man. Seriously. That's just painful. You know, at some point, man, we're not sitting here sharing a 40 or getting high. I mean, I thought we were having a serious conversation, and then you started saying all that. It's kind of a waste of time. You know what I mean? So I think some people are going to have to pay for what they've said. Now, if you come to me and say, listen, man, He's gonna feel that speed. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that. But he's gonna make it ugly. He may throw an illegal strike, or maybe an elbow. Or he's gonna just fly across the ring and throw a Superman punch to start things off. I mean, something unorthodox that's gonna happen where he's unleashing that left hand and throwing it, and maybe 3 rounds of fury and then the gas tank. I feel you there, but I just don't think Conor can go 12 rounds for one. So that means I don't think he can outbox him. I don't even want to hear Conor by decision. I can stomach Conor by KO, but I got to hear how it's going to happen. What's your theory behind it?
You see these faces?
Yes.
These are a collection of clown faces. When I hear people say that shit, I take it in, but I want you to know that this is the face that I see looking back at me as your nonsense is coming over the airwaves. I will settle with all these clowns come Monday. But I want you to remember, this is what you look like today. Imagine what you're going to look like on Monday.
All those people, you know what? That should be the bet. Avatar.
Make them all clowns.
Yeah, you gotta change your face on Facebook
and
for at least a month, or on Twitter. Remember when Buffalo Blue lost the bet to you and he was a Muppet?
Yeah.
How long was he a Muppet for?
He was a Muppet for a couple of weeks.
Right. Something like that. That, I think, at least Orlando's going to wear the diaper, whatever. But I know there's a lot of people that are just hoping we all forget, and then they just can sail off. But if McGregor pulls off some sort of a miracle, they'll be the first ones. I told you so. I called it. I'm Nostradamus, MMA boxing's version, and it's just not that way. Anyhow, all right, folks, let's take this break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93. When we come back, we'll be talking to Joby Sanchez, who just got a contract into the UFC. He fought for the second time on Dana White Contender Series. He fought on Dana White Contender Series 1 and 7. So it took him twice, but he's back into the UFC. So that's a massive risk there, roll of the dice, but he pulled it off. We got to give him his props. When we come back, we'll be right back.
on the underbelly of the MMA community. But hey, stretch marks are the new tats. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Want to wish a special happy birthday to one of my dime pieces. I got supermodels scattered all over the world, but the main squeeze, the lovely Juliet, it's her birthday today. So have fun in Santa Monica. Wish I was with you instead of these four knuckleheads that I'm stuck with talking about the most uncompetitive fight in the history of combat sports. But it is what it is. How's that sound? Joby Sanchez joins us now. How about that guy, man? That guy's a straight-up G because he saw a path to getting back into the UFC, and even though it didn't work the first time, he didn't hang his head, and he came right back in weeks 1 and 7, 7 being last week, and now he's part of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Welcome back, Joe B. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing awesome.
Whose idea was that for you to do the repeat, to run it back?
To do the second contender?
Yes.
It was fun. I was happy. I was very happy to get back there and get that done.
Whose idea was it, though?
No, mine. I went and asked Dana. I asked Dana after the first one, let me fight again. Let me show you I belong here. I belong in the...
And he must have been ecstatic, right? Because he loves that. He loves it when somebody's hungry like that and desiring to be, with him in the UFC.
I think he liked it. I mean, he must have, because he did bring me back, and I was able to show him that I can run with these guys in the flyweight division.
Right. And so here's what I'm thinking. They've talked about the fact that this thing might get extended, and so when they come back, because they are coming back, they're going to have more than a season of 8. Guys like this, like Joby, who go out there and fight and just come up short, they're helping out with the matchmaking. Hey, I'll see you in about 6 weeks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if anything, that's a little bit of a break for the matchmakers and everybody else. You just performed, and if you suck, he'd probably tell you, well, we're good, right? But instead, he said, let's do this again. And, he comes back and did it. And this thing's been popping, man. So, when you come back, a lot of people are going to be very familiar with your road back. Brilliant strategy.
I think so, yeah. I think the 2 fights on the contender was good exposure for me. And I think it's going to help him with my career in the UFC. A lot of people are going to know who I am, and I won't be kind of lost in the crowd. I think where some fighters kind of happens to some fighters.
Did you feel that? Did you feel that the fight, the Dana White Contender Series on Fight Pass, did bring a lot of eyeballs? Like a lot of people were corresponding with you that they saw the fight, or you knew about the fight one way or another?
Yeah, it was definitely very good exposure. It's like like anything else, like looking for a fight or anything. And it's cool. I liked how it let us kill and kind of give us our backstory and show people what we're fighting for. And people can relate to that. And I thought it was very cool that Dana did this show.
I'm telling you, man, I knew it. The minute I was in that gym the first time, I thought, wow, please pay attention, LFA, Titan, all the other organizations that are out there that have been, feeder leagues to the UFC, Victory, because this is going to be huge. And so, it's going to up everyone's game. But I'm glad to hear that you got good feedback off of your fights, because I had the same feeling, man, that Tuesday nights there just wasn't anything better to do than to watch people throw down. Joby Sanchez, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. You can follow him on Twitter at Joby Sanchez. Goes, what do you have for Joby?
Joby, I know you went to Dana White and you told him, hey, give me another shot, I can do this. But did he tell you at that moment you're in, or did he say he'd consider it? Like, when did you officially find out that you'd be given it a second run?
I found about it a week later. The next Tuesday, that I'd be fighting on episode 7. And so I did. I took a week off and listened to my manager. He said, take a week off and just, let your body heal up from the first fight. And when I found out I had this fight on episode 7, I jumped right back into camp.
What was your mood after that first fight? Because you pulled off a victory. It was a unanimous decision. You were dominant in your victory, but it wasn't quite what Dana was looking for, obviously. Did it almost feel like a loss because you didn't get the contract, or did it still feel like a normal win?
It did not feel like a loss, but it didn't feel like a win. I was grateful for the time. I was grateful for the matchup. I mean, Manny Vasquez was a former bantamweight champion for LFA, so to have that fight, like, it meant a lot, like, to show me where I stood, but it did not feel like this ultimate grand victory.
It's not like you weren't looking for the finish in the first fight. So coming around in the second fight, I mean, I want to ask you, like, was there more of a focus on trying to get the finish, trying to put a little bit more out there? Because I feel like you kind of did that in the first fight. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Manny was very tough. He was not an easy guy to finish. The focus is like, I did put a little bit more focus on the finish. And the ultimate goal was the victory. Second was the finish. Third was the contract. And I knew if I got the win, that it just gave me another step closer to my goal, whether I got picked for the contract or didn't get picked. I knew if I finished him, yeah, I heightened my chances of that contract.
Joby, let me ask you this question: if some young fighter who's got a good record, young guy, and he's a free agent, he's looking to see what's next, would you tell him Dana White Contender Series is the path to go? There's also the reality show. Let's just say their weight class was coming up at the same time. A new series of Dana White's kicking off, and of course all the other possibilities out there, including Cage Warriors, Tachi, Bellator, professional Fighters League. They got a big tournament coming up. Like, how would you steer them? Do you think this might be the path?
Yeah, because whether you get the contract or do not get the contract, it's a great exposure. A lot of people tune in to watch the fights, and it's just another. It's like going for a job. Like, how good is your resume? What have you fought on? How well have you done? And having a win on Dana White Contender Series, I mean, that's a good one on the resume, whether you got paid for the contract or didn't.
Yeah. Okay, and so congrats on being part of the UFC. Now, how long do you chill out before you get right back into it and get on one of these cards?
When I fought JP on Tuesday, he threw me very hard in the first round, and I'm pretty sore from that. So I'm taking a week of doing nothing, and then starting next week, I'm gonna start grappling and drilling again. So just a week off. Get some of the soreness off, kind of rest my body, and then I'll slowly get back into training. I won't spar for a little bit, but I need to get back grappling and drilling.
Joby, who you got this weekend, Floyd or Connor? Hey, before you answer, I'm not in a good mood, so please, if you have Connor, come strong. Otherwise, we really will end with a hang-up.
No, I have Money Mayweather.
Oh, okay.
I think it's after watching the World Tour, I kind of seriously, but like all the other stuff that they kind of brought up, I'm pretty excited about it again. And I have Money Mayweather.
KO or finish?
No, he won't finish him. He'll take him out. He'll take him to the decision.
12 rounds, 36 minutes. All right, there you have it, folks. A prediction from Joby Sanchez, the newest member of the UFC, his second go-round, coming through the Dana White Contender Series. Number 7, that win over JP Buys got him back in. He's 4-0 since leaving the Ultimate Fighting Championship the first time, so it's a nice 4-fight win streak with 2 finishes, a submission, and a TKO. Also in the last calendar year, 4-0, and in 2017, in the last year, complete year, 4-0, and just in 2017, 3-0. So an amazing year, an amazing comeback, Joby. We love seeing stuff like that, man. If it doesn't work out the first time, it may work out the next time, and we're proud of you for that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for joining us on the show, and hopefully we can talk to you again soon.
Sounds good.
All
Yeah,
right.
take care.
You too. I like this guy. Remember when he came to the studio once?
Yeah, he
was
cool
real
cat.
cool. He was
He
cool.
had a good fight.
It was unfortunate he was going up against Gianni, a Vegas guy at the time who we had gotten to know, but I remember that fight was fun to watch, and I knew that he was pretty skilled and we'd see him again. And here he is. Shout out to Ed Cap for making that one happen. All right. What do you want to do? Commercial again or take some calls? You call the shots.
You know what? Let's take a couple calls and then take a commercial.
All right. But they're not good callers. You still want them?
Who are they?
Well, you'll see. We'll start off with this one. Brandon from Louisville. What's up, man?
Hey, is this Junkie Radio?
Hey, how you been?
I'm doing all right. I'm kind of confused because I tried to call yesterday and somehow I got connected to Barstool.
Huh.
I'll be damned.
I was worried they finally canceled you two Muppets.
That might be the next step. Who
I mean,
knows?
it's something we'd have to look into. If it was like Pizza Hut or something, I think maybe hit redial. I don't know.
Reason I was going to call yesterday and reason I'm calling today, let's stop talking about Conor and Mayweather. Let's talk about the real big MMA story this week. John Jones.
Yeah, let's do it.
He's done, right? He's done.
No.
There's no way in the world they bring him back, right?
You know, look,
if
in the worst case scenario, okay, what are you saying? He's done in terms of he's suspended and we won't see him for a while, or you just feel like the whole career is done?
I'm saying both. If he's going to go through the process, I'm sure, and they're going to retest, and if this drug test stands as a positive drug test for whatever East German, wonderkin drug he's been taking, they're done with him. He's going to have his probably 4-year suspension because this is strike number 2.
Okay,
and
so let's unpack it little by little. The B sample will be tested. It doesn't matter. That one will be positive as well. Now he's part of a sharp team. He's got a manager that's very aggressive with this. They've hired an attorney who in the past has gotten other fighters' sentences or punishments reduced. So worst case scenario, it could be 4 years. Somehow I think this thing will be 2 years. They're very adamant about the fact that a tainted supplement defense or whatever. So, you know what? He's 30. John Jones without MMA for 2 years. You saw what he did when he came back. Now, again, we have to raise an eyebrow because we don't know if there was an enhancement there or whatever. But that's why I don't feel like his career's done if that's what he's getting at. I don't think the career's done. But is he probably going to get suspended? Yes. Now the question is, for how long?
Okay. Is his UFC career done? Are they done with this guy?
I don't think they're done with him because he just equals dollars, right?
Right.
But I think maybe they're done with him in regards to, obviously, he's not going to be main eventing anything. Why even have him? Oh, man, I don't know. Yeah,
we'll see. I think a lot of it will have to do with what else does the UFC have on their plate at the time. If like I believe when there's these Brock rumors and prior to GSP signing GSP rumors, it's because at the same time the UFC inquires. You know what I mean? But if things are going great,
I mean, look
and
at
they
Floyd.
don't need
He's
him.
Been gone 2 years, right? He's back, and he didn't really skip a beat, right?
Right.
So depending on how long, but here's the thing: like, you guys have to remember the big picture. The UFC just took a massive hit. JDS and John Jones, those are two big stars.
Yeah, that's true.
That hurts, man.
It
does. Hurts bad. You gotta re-up. You gotta create new stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you did that with a Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee probably took another step forward in that direction, right?
Justin Gaethje had a nice debut.
Justin Gaethje had a decent debut, but we couldn't say they could match up with those two that they lost, right?
Right.
So are they going to be able to keep up with it? We don't know. Like George said, you got to know what that landscape is when he's coming back. My guess is no.
Ever?
No, that they won't have new stars as how they have like in the last
they'll need a John Jones?
They'll need someone,
I think so too. I think one way or another he'll come back. Fences will be mended. It's a business transaction, Like, you may not be stuck. Personally, you might think, oh, man, we got to deal with this guy. But in the end, if there's a transaction where you pay him what makes him happy, his opponent, the event makes money, and the company makes money, then you're good to go. Thank you very much for the call, Brandon. Let's go to Marco in Waco. What's up, Marco?
Marco from Waco. ¿Qué pasa, Atos?
Not much in you?
Hey, that dude was right, man. Yesterday, the first hour, the call went directly to Barstool. The second hour got fixed. So I don't know if the Danny or the connection, whatever, but it was weird. I got cursed out by the Barstool guys.
Pinchy Danny.
Whatever.
What'd they tell you?
Oh, this is no junkie. Don't like some curse and shit, like whatever. Fuck it.
Did you say, it sounds like I'm talking to one, though.
Yeah, why didn't you say that?
Well, he hung up on me, so I didn't have time to retort.
Champion of the last hit.
Yeah, freaking on John Jones, man. let's unravel this clusterfuck. First of all, remember, USADA is a third-party private company that the only reason they got power is because they're contracted to the USC. The commission, the entity that actually sanctions the fight, also has to get into this thing. Let's say, for fuck's sake, that the commission gives John Jones 1 year. Whoever that USADA can get him 4. And if that is the case, that can be taken to court. Second of all, why is it stopping John Jones for pulling a veto Belfort and go to Japan or Russia and still fight for millions of dollars just because he can? Because the USADA or the commission does not have jurisdiction up there. Mm-hmm. Well, what is to stop John Jones from doing that if they're going to give him a heavy-handed punishment?
Because that's kissing away his future. But
yeah,
I mean, if he can get those big, I mean, they'd have to be really big paychecks, and I don't think they can match that.
If it's 4 years, wow, man. I mean,
if I'm advising him 4 years, I'd tell him do it.
If it's 2, I think you wait it out. And even Frank Mir knew that the best thing to do was to just, even though he signed with Bellator, he's going to wait out, I think, till March or April when his suspension's up and then fight. So I think John, under 2 years, would wait and come back to the UFC, and I believe the UFC would gladly have him. And once you get into, I still think even 3 he may do it. And he'll look back on cases like Dominic Cruz, the Korean Zombie, others that were out for those kind of. All it takes is the comeback. You're back, you steamroll somebody, and guess what? You're back. Granted, it's 3 years without making money, but a lot of these guys have so much fame and popularity. Hey, you know what? Guess Chael Sonnen, you need somebody to grapple. Polaris, Metamorphs ain't around. The seminar circuit, you know what I mean? Well, so it's not like they'll piss it all away. But 4 years, wow. I mean, 4 years is a lot. 4 years, maybe, man. And I don't know if the company will want to keep you around.
I'm thinking of Misha Tate, who's retired. And have you seen what her weekends are like? What she does?
She's
and
pretty
how she
busy.
Keeps busy?
Yeah.
Maybe you could do something like that and just make some money and wait it out.
Yeah, even the busted open guy say maybe he go to the WWE. Who knows? If they strip him, he will be the only guy strip of the belts 3 times. Twice for the championship, 1 for the interim. We're going to leave you guys. Catch you next time.
See ya. He was stripped for the interim? So he won. Oh, okay, yeah, because he won the interim. I guess so, yeah.
I don't know if
that. Okay, I just want to say one thing. First of all, a big shout out to Kate on Twitter at @KatePrice_less. She gave us the answer, and you're going to feel like a pendejo. It's just Belgian. I don't know why I kept saying Belgium. It's Belgian, like when you order Belgian waffles. So there you have it. It was that simple.
Oh, you do say it like that?
Yeah,
Belgian
you just
waffles?
say Belgian, yeah. Belgian.
I would say Belgium.
But I kept getting stuck on Belgium. He's Belgium. Something just didn't hit me. The other thing is, as far as WWE, I think it's only an option as a one-off. Like, hey, look, Floyd's there, or Ronda's there, and you're at WrestleMania, and maybe they pay you 7 figures, $1 million or something, and that's that, and it keeps you going throughout the year. But as far as like turning to pro wrestling, I think the word is spread from the Rampages to the King Mo's. I mean, if you're not in, and if you're somewhat of a contender in MMA, you're not going to want to put your body through that. The travel, the damage that you take, you have to be basically turning your back on MMA, saying I'm done. Now I'm just doing this, a la someone like a Matt Riddle.
Well, you can't just be physically good in the ring. You have to be good when they give you the mic. And John Jones is not good with the mic.
Right.
So even if they did, like you said, maybe a one-off, you could probably create enough buzz to get sales up for a little bit. But yeah, long term, that's not a good idea.
All right, folks, we're going to take another break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. We got some calls coming in. You should be a part of it because, again, I'm going to start taking some your plays down. I want to see who is going to put money where their mouth is, who's going to eat crow on Saturday night, Sunday, Monday show. Can't wait to hear it. I'll start with these 4 in here. Let's see what they got going on. They all look like gamblers. Dan Tom, you a gambler? Of course you are. He's a gambler. Buffalo Blue, you don't have to ask him. He's probably already hit 3 parlays, and it's not even 10 a.m. here, or 11 a.m. All right, we'll be right back after this break. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM that you're listening to.
Just George and Goes, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
It's Mayweather McGregor week, and SiriusXM Rush 90, Channel 93 is your home for combat sports and entertainment. Tune in to Channel 93 on the latest news, the views on the big fight, and starting Wednesday, yesterday, we will take you live to Vegas, Radio Row. We got fellas over there for all the other shows like Luke Thomas at the fights. They're on Radio Row, so keep it locked on Channel 93 throughout the day. Your home for combat sports and entertainment. I like that song.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah, let's just play it throughout these calls.
Junkie Gathering.
Yeah, we'll just keep it going through these calls here. We'll start off with Rick from Alaska. What's up, Rick?
How you guys doing today? I was watching the press conference, and they kept on, that Litter guy, the Mayweather manager, he kept on saying pre-order the event, you know, and then I kept reading too, like everybody, you know, they always say that, but they're really stretching it this time, and I know there's rumors that they just want to meet expectations, but do people actually think that there'll be so many orders that'll become unavailable, you know, right before the event? Have you ever heard that happening?
I have.
They like break it. Really?
I have heard that happening before. People having problems with ordering the pay-per-view.
Happened to me before.
Yeah. So it's nothing unusual, but it's not. It's okay. I mean, in the history of pay-per-views, this has happened. It happened a few times. I've heard of it from multiple people.
Mayweather-Pacquiao
it's happened to us. But what I can say is it doesn't happen that often either. But why take a chance? This is such a big event. Plus, it's not the end of the world to put that fear in you and just get you in there to pre-order.
Yeah. I never come into that. I guess it might not be a thing in UFC, but you, like Rose mentioned, Pacquiao and Mayweather. You know, one thing I think works out for them is that it's on so many different avenues this time. I mean, they're making that Showtime app just for this, and it's on UFC TV. So maybe that's part of their strategy to movie theaters. And so, hey, so is the Triple G Canelo fight is going to be in movie theaters as well. They just posted that, so it's a lot cheaper too to go see that one.
See what?
I mean, it's only
Triple G.
In a movie theater, or just see it?
See it in general, like either in the arena or like in a movie theater.
Yeah.
I want to be where there's a lot of people though.
Okay.
Yeah, $18 will get you a seat in 1,000 events. Anyways, just had a question about that. I've never heard of the thing not being available, so I guess my ass will be ordering it right after the weigh-ins when I know the fight's actually happening. That's the only thing that's stopping me.
Yeah. You making a bet on the fight?
I already did.
What is it?
I'm afraid to tell you, though, because I don't want you to blast me. Well, it's Mayweather. But, I mean, it's so small. He's 10-1, right? One to whatever. So I bet $10, and I could get 100 if he wins. The next time I come down, I'll just pick that up. And if he doesn't win, it was $10.
Mayweather 10-1. All he's got to do is win. That doesn't make sense. What, did you pick a specific round, or is there a method of victory?
No. It's $10 gets me 100 for the ticket I got. So.
And all Mayweather has to do is win?
You're talking about McGregor.
Oh shit! I'm sorry, McGregor. I meant McGregor. My bad. I got McGregor.
All right.
I know.
All right. See you, Rick. We're good. I really like that guy. How does he fuck up like that?
I don't know.
I mean, he sends us down this trail.
He knew what he was saying because he said, I don't want to say it because it's going to upset you guys.
Well, yeah, so that's why I thought he probably chose like Mayweather parlay to the draw or something. I was like waiting for the catch. Like, how does this make sense? But, okay, so he took McGregor at 10-1. Now, at least I'll give him that he got in on it early. Because now your $1 would only pay you $3.50, whereas Rick is saying his $1 would pay him 10, and if he bet 10, he'll get paid 100. So that I'll give him. It might make me forget the fact that he put a bet against Floyd, and but it's only $10. So yeah, believe it or not, I'm good.
Shout out to the Facebook guys here that have joined the little chat. Daniel Roberts, Lisa King, Shamak Karsandu's in there.
Yeah, all right. I like them, all of them. Let's talk to DJ Tony. What's up, Tony?
Viniendo con ustedes, caballeros, les quería hablar un poco de Juan Huesos Jones.
Ándale.
Hold on, this is in English, right? I'm sorry. Coming at you, gentlemen. I wanted to chat with you a little bit about John Bones Jones. Isn't it a little premature to start talking about suspensions, etc.? I mean, he's gotten out of these jams before, hasn't he?
I wouldn't say premature because he's got a history. I think anybody else, maybe, you do follow the whole due process, all that. But because there's such a long history with the guy, and he's such a big part of the sport, you got to start planning for the future.
If you plan, if you put the PED stuff together with the legal stuff, you're right. He's gotten out of a lot of stuff through reduced suspensions. I think him being a rich guy has helped him tremendously. I think a lot of other people, one of those would have put them behind bars, possibly got him cut from the UFC. So, yeah, there has been a lot of benefits. Tony, as media guys, you're right. We have to let the due process play out. As fans, which at the core every media person is, and Goes and I do the worst job of holding that in, we just tend to call it as we see it. This is an uphill battle he'll have. The B sample, that don't matter. Let's just see how good his legal team is. Let's just see how good they argue this. And let's be clear about one thing. We're hoping that he gets cleared, because really it'll mean that the last few years him in D.C. and maybe all of his career was just bullshit, and a big waste of time. So we're hoping he gets cleared. We're hoping he fights in 2017, early 2018. But is it likely? Probably not.
Well, maybe he needs more of those blue pills. Nothing, Danny? No rim shot on that one? Okay. All right, gentlemen. Well, listen, you guys are always the greatest.
You have to give him a chance.
I know, sorry. All right, I had a backtrack. As being part of the Cheeto Fingers Club, I should know better.
I think he's like Animal from Muppet Babies, right? Like he's just sitting there with the drums.
I think so, yeah. Knock, knock. Hey, what the fuck? Why aren't you asking me who's there? What the hell? No, I'm just kidding. All right, good stuff, Tony. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
All right, see ya. Isn't he out? He's out. Okay, he's not there. All right, here's some music, so we'll respect Showtime a little bit. We'll give him a few minutes, pull over, take a piss. He's probably driving the truck, and that way he can have a good call with us. We're coming up here on a commercial with a sports update, and Tony didn't give us a bet. Did he make a bet?
No, he didn't.
No, nothing? All right. I'd like to hear what you're playing. Marcel, of course, from Houston, found a way to skirt it, not call in or participate via any of the chats that we have, by just emailing me directly. And, of course, he's got considerably generous lines. Like, he's getting Mayweather by decision at 250 goes. It's what is it here? 160? How's he getting 250? Yeah. Unless he did this a while ago. He does have Badu Jack, though, at minus 450. He's on the undercard, which can be seen on Fox Sports. And I saw Badu Jack in, like, the minus 350 range. So this is one that doesn't benefit him. And he's also got Andrew Tabiti. We'll be right back after this break. Stay close. All right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. I want to introduce to anybody that's watching for the first time, but of course, this is our good friend, and he's also a fellow junkie based in the UK, Shamak Sandhu, joining us now on the panel. Also, Dan Tom, you've been hearing about him all week. Best analyst in the game, now part of the MMA Junkie Radio team, and of course, the MMA Junkie team. Welcome, fellas.
What's up?
I'm well. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm always honest, all right? I really wanted Carla Duran, son of the legendary Stitch Duran, in one of those two seats. So this is a plan B. But that young lady who knows more about boxing than any of us probably, she's shy. So Junkie Nation, hit her up, man. If you know her phone number or her email, or if you guys are on the Facebook chat, give her a hard time, because she's a ball buster at times, you know what I mean? So I want to give it back to her. We need to get her on here so she can give some opinions on this fight. She knows what's up, man. She follows the game, and that's a goal of mine. Hopefully,
and she has strong opinions.
Hopefully there'll be some peer pressure. And she's also a fellow pro wrestling fan as well.
Brilliant.
So we can pick her brain about that. Yeah. But anyway, we'll roll with Plan B. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Thanks for joining us here. Hey, I mean, we're 48 hours away, a little bit past that, maybe 56 hours away from this mega event. Are you ready for it to just be here, or do you like the process that it's taken? We'll start with you, Shamakar.
Yeah, actually, I was just thinking about it yesterday. We've heard all the sound bites. You know, I don't need any more. I just wanted to see what happens when they get in the ring now. That's all I care about.
The press conference was a dud almost, right?
Yeah, I mean...
You kind of expected it, though, I think.
Yeah, I mean, not having fans, I think, was a mistake. But then again, I guess we got 4 versions of that with sold-out arenas. But I think if you're in this far, shove all the chips in, and I think I would have done that. These guys play off the fans, you know, when they want to basically come at each other. I know they're exhausted and they've sold it, but, I mean, if you're this far in, maybe 4.6 becomes 4.7 because of anything that's said that day.
Well, the way most people buy pay-per-views is in the final 24 hours, and we've got one more opportunity. Well, they've got one more opportunity, and that's the weigh-in. That's going to be the final big visual that we're going to get when they face off. We're going to see what they look like when they finally kind of made weight, and that's the only thing I'm really looking forward to now in the next 48 hours. It's that weigh-in, and then let's just get to the fight.
Did you get a ticket, mate?
No, actually, it looks like I'm going to be hanging out at the Artisan. So there's a
for the weigh-in.
Oh no, I haven't actually. If anyone
anybody has a ticket to the weigh-in, hit up my man here.
Hook it up. I'd be much appreciated.
He really has been trying to get one all week, and he was trying to do it the right way through Ticketmaster, and it crashed. So he'll probably buy you a drink, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Bottled water or
whatever you want.
Churro or something. Okay, so I didn't want to put you on the spot. Dan, Tom, are you ready for the fight to just be here, or do you enjoy the process?
I think it's a little bit of both, and maybe you guys could weigh in it a lot more. Obviously, you guys have had plenty of fight weeks here in Vegas, the fight capital of the world, and working on the media side of it, you get, like you said, the fan side that we all have a little bit, no matter how much we want to admit, and that has picked up in me, even me being more of a contrarian type kind of fellow, more of a when it comes to this type of stuff, I'm feeling the excitement, but from the media side, from this now, I'm not at all these events like you guys or anything, but I also kind of feel that vibe where it's like, I get the people saying, I can't wait for this to be over. Let's get back to business as usual. Let's get back to the docket and so on and so forth. So sorry to give you a vanilla answer, but it's honestly both. I feel both sides.
Okay. Goes?
I am not going to miss it when it's done. There are so many things going on right now in mixed martial arts that I feel like we can't cover fully because we're dealing with all this nonsense. And it's funny because what we're dealing with on the other side is nonsense as well. But we just need to get to our nonsense.
Well, had Jones not popped on Tuesday night, though, would there really be that much to talk about? Because
there is a guy
this is
out
such a
there.
slow month. Like, I start things off with the rankings talk for USA Today Sports and Junkie, and I'm looking and I'm seeing that ACB's had a couple of events, but, you know, they only have a couple ranked fighters. EFN, I think, is another one. Shudo, Pancrase, I'm checking, and there's stuff happening, but not anything that's really moving the needle. Bellator has a ranked fighter in Andrei Korshkov fighting tomorrow. So I feel like, if anything, this thing happened at the right time. And if not for Jones, I don't know what we would be saying right now, other than maybe previewing Holland and the following week Edmonton.
You know who it happened for the best time? Junior Dos Santos. He was a dork for about, what, a couple days?
Yeah.
And then somebody else came along and did something stupid. And then everything with Conor McGregor, there's things that are happening. But it goes under the radar because of all this.
If there was one story that could have stolen any headlines the week of Mayweather McGregor, it would have been John Jones testing positive, and it happened. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, then the second biggest fight week for combat sports during the summer in a row. Last one, UFC 200, was supposed to be, right? Didn't end up being, but was supposed to be. And yes, it's the same thing, a deja vu. Hopefully they don't make a turkey, as they say in bowling, next year.
To piggyback a little bit off of what Shamakar said, that last opportunity, that weigh-ins, the one thing that we haven't seen yet, that I think we will see, that will make a lot of people feel like this is going to be nuts, the Irish reaction will be in full force there by Friday. And when they pan to that crowd and you see those flags and those people going nuts, that's going to be something that's going to get everybody pumped up.
Going back to Jones, I did watch Undisputed with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless, and they had Dana White on. And Dana White, once again, just doesn't give me any sort of a feeling that, oh, don't worry, we're going to figure out this Bones thing. I mean, it really looks like he's attending a funeral when he's asked about it. His head's down. He's just not positive in any way. So you can tell he's probably containing disappointment and anger and all this. But anybody that's calling into us and asking why are we thinking that way, I think it starts from the top and, you know, obviously the precedents that have been set by other alleged offenders.
Well, it was interesting when the news broke. We were all in the Tough Gym watching the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series.
Yeah, give me a play-by-play by that. So had the fight started yet?
So the first fight had just finished,
Okay.
and then I was sitting next to Luke Thomas, and he broke it to all of us. The TMZ story had just broke. He had his laptop out. He starts showing us. We had Dan Hardy and Francis Ngannou and Cowboy Cerrone sitting right in front of us. We start talking about it, and then everyone starts to look at their phones. No one's watching the fight. And then we're all looking at Dana. Dana's got his head down. You could tell he's just like... he's just flush in his face just from like that news being broken. And then obviously we had the Dana White media scrum afterwards, post-fight from the event. And yeah, when Jeff Nowitzki was kind of explaining some of the details and the due process that's about to begin on this, Dana White's looking at him, just, you know, and absorbing how this is, you know, how everything's kind of playing out. It was an absolute surreal moment because I was actually so pumped to actually get to the Tough Gym, my very first time there, check out the Contender Series, check out some of these up-and-coming fighters, and then this news breaks, and it's just unbelievable to be in that situation.
By the way, you feel like Dana was finding out at that same time as you guys?
Probably not, but I think he was getting inundated with text messages from people, reporters, and, you know...
How does TMZ Sports get these? I mean, obviously, like, what is the process? I guess USADA informs the USADA rep for the UFC, which is Nowitzki, and then he said he let Cormier Jones know all pretty much at the same time. But who's letting TMZ Sports know?
I have a buddy who works in the music industry, and from what he's always said with those type of scoops, they come internally. They just leak out. They have people
so
there.
Somehow it hit UFC, Dana White, who then lets the PR people know, and then the PR just shoots that bad boy over there.
I thought Dana thought that he would at least get through the Contender Series. I think that's why he probably reacted that way.
It was horrible.
I heard Dana being quoted as he found out on the way to the Contender Series, but yeah, that probably was it. He probably was just upset that he's like,
well, there's the timeline right there. So he usually gets in pretty late, right? 4:45ish maybe. Would you say when did you see his appearance?
No, he was there from the first fight. He was there from the first fight.
It started at 5, right?
Yeah.
So let's just call it 4:30, 4:45. He heard, and you're saying the first fight had just ended, and it's usually about 20-25 minutes per fight. So it could be right around that time.
I want to make a point on this. I got to give credit to the UFC PR team because when the news started to kind of leak out through social media that, you know, Jones had popped and Dana White was going to be holding a media scrum post-event, every media outlet that had an opportunity to apply for a credential for that event that didn't turn up, didn't apply for a credential, then to start rocking up at the Tough Gym, knocking on the door saying, hey, can we come in so we can get involved in this Dana White media scrum? They were like, no, you didn't apply for a credential, you didn't cover this event, so we're not going to let you in. So credit to them for that. Because normally, when there's a big situation, they want to open the doors and get as much media coverage and exposure as possible, but they kind of put their foot down on that. So I thought, well done to you guys.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, we've been getting asked what we think's going to happen, and I know there will be a suspension of some sort, and I guess it just boils down to probably no less than 2 years, and the max could be 4. With 2, I could see John still coming back and the UFC probably wanting to do business. What if he gets 4 guys? Do you think the UFC just says, if this guy's not around for 4 years, why do we even need a possible black cloud for any other troubles he might get into? Maybe it's just time we cut ties?
I think if 4 years comes around, I'm going to circle it back to that pro wrestling talk. I think I would not put a WWE appearance if we're looking at 4 years or more. It'll be like when WCW brought in a drunk Scott Hall to face Bill Goldberg. Maybe we'll get the Lesnar Jones match there. But seriously, no, 4 years and more, then that's serious questions, not just for the UFC, but John Jones in general. Forget WWE or MMA. Like, what is he going to do at that point?
He's gone from being the GOAT to being the poster boy for USADA, popping and testing positive, and it's heartbreaking. And I think from last year you had that 1 asterisk, and okay, fine, you pushed this narrative of it being a tainted supplement. I think a lot of people kind of gave him a pass on that one. But if they're going to now put that narrative forward again, that this was another tainted supplement, and you've got 2 asterisks on your name like that, it even in our hardcore MMA community, if some individuals give him a pass on it, it's just hard for mainstream casual fans to kind of buy in to the fact that this guy is a clean fighter.
It still boils down to a bad decision, though, right?
Yeah,
this tainted supplement thing, because you should have learned the first time anything that's going in.
I've heard that. I've heard bad decision. We're past that. That's a dumb decision. A very dumb
How about those that have come to his defense? I respect that. Malky Kawa leading the charge. That's his guy. I started thinking about the reaction of it, and it's pretty much friends, family, hardcore fans. But aren't they the same people that if DC had tested positive, they'd be there to bury as well? I think it's just a human reaction. I really feel like Jones supporters should back off anyone that's taking, I guess, our stance. That's just kind of the way the sport is. That's just kind of the way life is. But yet people tend to see their way, I guess, through their own lenses. So, but I noticed that a little bit. I noticed a few names that would be quick to bury if it was someone they didn't root for.
Yeah, I was speaking to a few kind of mainstream outlets yesterday about this. They were just kind of picking my brain on what does this mean. I kind of just, the only way I could reference it would be like, what if Michael Jordan in his prime, tested positive for drugs, performance-enhancing drugs a few times, or if Usain Bolt, popped a few times after winning all these Olympic gold medals. That's the equivalent. From our sport, that's the equivalent.
Yeah. Oh, we saw Lance Armstrong, right? What it's done for him.
Yeah.
This is what I want to talk to you guys about. I'm going to take 1 through 15, pound for pound, okay? What is the UFC going to do in the next couple years? Because now, more than likely, the #1 guy, you lost John Jones, okay? Demetrius Johnson's #2. I think he's got a couple years left in him. He hasn't been slowing down. Conor McGregor, we have no idea what's going to happen with him. I don't even know that they do. Daniel Cormier, how long are we going to see him for, right? Stipe Miocic looks like pretty solid.
And how about
Cody
the fact
Garbrandt's the future?
Dana White said it, right, Shamakar? You were there.
I asked the question.
That they were tinkering. Sorry to cut you off, Goes, but Stipe and Jones was being talked about.
For Detroit.
So that's a title shot. That's not like for funsies like with Brock. That's actually for a title shot.
And for Detroit, it was gonna be around the corner. Imagine if they.
Oh, for Detroit, not for the end of the year.
No, for Detroit. Imagine them. Imagine Jones goes into that fight, wins the title, and you start off 2018 as a dual champion.
Wow, what a comeback story! I mean, that's
everything.
He's probably fighter of the year
easily.
With the SP and all that.
You boost the 2 divisions that need help the most right now: heavyweight, light heavyweight, or at least at the very least provide a bright distraction to draw people and let the divisions build. But now you're back to bare division again and having to look what you have to work with. Tough.
That would be something else, man. He, could arguably maybe. Well, that's still a ways to go. I was going to say maybe overtake Conor, depending on what his year finishes out like. I bet you
If he wins.
John Jones seeing Conor rise through these last few years, those checks that have been cashed, you know, he has to have wondered, could that have been me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. I don't want to jinx it yet, but we may have a surprise guest here on the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, should be pretty cool. Let's take some calls in the meantime, so
Okay.
that way if the guest does show up,
Oh,
we
wait,
can...
let me finish this up real quick.
Oh,
I just
yeah,
wanna
yeah.
give you a
Your
couple
top
names.
15. All right, go ahead.
Dominic Cruz.
Go ahead. Uh-huh.
Jose Aldo. Okay. Michael Bisping.
So
These are all
you
people-
asking that these guys might be more on their way out than
They're
on their way up?
They are on their way out. A lot of those are on their way out. What is the UFC going to look like? If, let's just say, 3 years, John Jones, when he comes back, who's going to replace all these people?
Okay, keep going.
Well, those are the ones that I feel like are closer to on their way out. You guys got guys like Stephen Thompson, Robert Whitaker, but they're not as big of stars as some of these people, these names that we're reading off. Some of these people we're reading off are names that go up on the Mount Rushmore.
Have you traveled to Australia?
I haven't. I wanted to go so badly.
I wonder how big Whitaker could be out there. Hunt's been pretty big, and he's been, no disrespect to him, a 500 fighter in the UFC. But his wins are awesome, you know what I mean? So I wonder just how big Whitaker could blow up. And he's prime, man. I think he's 26.
Right.
You know what I mean? Doesn't look like the type of guy that'll let you down and get in any trouble. But he's coming out there, and he's been a really, really good turnaround story. If you'll recall, Thompson, who goes named off earlier, gave him a loss at welterweight, and then I believe that's what got him to move up to middleweight, and it's been a destructive force.
You know, him and Robert Whitaker and Max Holloway came to my mind as far as future pound for pounds, but this kind of ties into a bigger argument, which the callers can weigh in on as far as goes talking about the future of the sport and pound for pound. It's like the sport's evolving. We have all these different techniques. Like, as an analyst, I study. It's growing. It's getting better every year. But the thing is, we're seeing less finishes. As fans, we're less compelled to storylines. You know, the saturation arguments and stuff fall into it. But yeah, we're seeing guys like the future we should be excited about for Whitaker, Max Holloway. But at the same time, you know, being in the sport as we all are, we as excited as we are, we're like, are they gonna push the pay-per-view buys? Are they gonna move that needle? And that's where the kind of excitement drops off there, and that's a problem I think the UFC really has to solve here coming up.
I think at lightweight you got guys like Khabib and Tony and Kevin Lee. I like those guys. They're great personalities, great fighters.
And none of them have been fighting.
Yeah,
unfortunately, the Diaz brothers are still there. If they could just get out there, I don't know if they're scared to lose. They shouldn't be because they've had their fair share of losses. Yet they're still super popular. Their fights are entertaining. I really feel like I don't know how far away they are, but why can't they come to an agreement to fight? You know, both ready and willing to compete. Nick's no longer suspended.
Yeah.
All right, let's take some calls here. We'll start off with Joe from H-Town. What's up, Joe? How you doing?
Fellas, all right, man. Listen, man, I'm watching the show on my TV, and I see the biggest pythons I've ever seen in MMA Junkie Radio history.
On Goes? Who are we talking about?
You, Hulk Hogan. Look at you.
Golly, man. What's up? You know what, man? I got to tell you guys are just taking these wolf tickets from Dana. I don't believe anything Dana tells the media. What percentage do you believe Dana? I mean, he always spits bullshit out there. I mean, he's trying to spin this. Oh, yeah, we were going to make Jones versus Steve. But, yeah, right, man. Give me a break, man. I don't believe that at all.
Well, why not?
Well, the card didn't have a main event, right?
Yeah.
So what made sense out of the fighters that weren't already occupied? There really wasn't that. There wasn't a big pool.
Yeah, 205 wasn't really popping per se. And that WME IMG era has shown us that they're not crazy to think outside the box and come up with these big money fights.
He was working on a new contract, so that's the last I heard. He wasn't happy with his current contract, but that's not the reason why I called. I want to talk about this McGregor Mayweather or whatever. It's WrestleMania, guys. I don't see this as a sporting event. It's a circus. It's a spectacle. You see all the lions and tigers are out and the elephants are out. We're getting 2 WrestleManias this year, guys, and that's how I see it. It's not going to be a fight. It's not going to be a match. I mean, for the Vince McMahon, congratulations. He's putting 2 WrestleManias on this year. Now I'm just going to enjoy the circus and enjoy the show. That's it, man.
All right, Joe. Prediction for the fight? Any bets?
A bet. Let's see here. It doesn't go 8 rounds.
So the under. All right, Joe. Thanks for the call. Good stuff. Damn, he was spitting some venom. H-Town in the house. And by the way, Marcel got mentioned earlier. Joe's from H-Town. I heard a big hurricane's coming through the southern portion of Texas. We have relatives in McKinney, Texas, which is the northern part. But, man, I hope everybody's safe because I'm hearing it's a monster that's coming through.
Not to make light of that, but did you guys feel yesterday? Like I hit hail on the way home. We got hailed on.
Really?
Yeah, you guys didn't see all
I
that?
must have still been
Dude,
here
it was a
because I
lot.
saw the asphalt was wet and stuff. Any progress on Carla's debut on MMA Junkie Radio, or what's going on? I figured that WWE talk might have got her tail wagging a little bit.
Nothing.
No. All
No.
right. You guys agree? Is it? Are we just basically getting a second MMA or WrestleMania?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pro wrestling guy anyway, so I love, you know, the minute this fight got announced, I was into it from a fun aspect, right? I mean, it sucks that McGregor got tied up into a situation where we're not going to see him fight in the octagon, but I love the bells and whistles, and I love WrestleMania, so yeah, I can appreciate anybody's kind of parallel take on that kind of stuff.
I'm with Shamatkar there. I appreciate Joe's parallel take, the WrestleMania comparisons. I'm a pro wrestling fan myself, but also from a martial artist fan, and you know, as you know, the woo-woo factor of it all. You know, being a southpaw martial artist growing up, but also growing up watching boxing and always kind of having those thoughts in my parallel head. You know, the UFC wasn't a thing at the time as big in the early '90s growing up, and now you fast forward, UFC's a thing, and now they're bringing their guy to boxing. As gimmicky as it sounds, and as much as I agree with the odds, I think Mayweather's going to win. We can get into that later, but yeah, man, I'm excited on both accounts. I can't lie.
Let's talk to Showtime in Tennessee. What's up, Showtime? It's yo time.
What's going on, fellas?
Not much, man.
Showtime.
Man, I couldn't resist the temptation, man. And I had to put a little parlay together, but you know me. I'm a baseball guy, a boxing guy, MMA guy. Let me ask you guys what you think about this.
Let's hear it.
I got George. I know you're going to get on me because you don't like. I think you hate like even parlays, but this is a little 6-teamer I put together. I'm going with the Dodgers today, -138. The Cubs today, -138. I'm going with Floyd versus Connor. Under 9.5, -200. I'm going with Andrew Tabiti, -300. Dennis Yugas, -175. And I'm throwing this in with the Bellator. I like Brennan Ward, man, +100. I'm gonna throw that in, man. $100 to get me 1637 on that.
What's Ward's line?
He's +100. That's what I got him at.
Okay, first of all, this is 17 parlay, so it's not an even. But you got a lot of favorites going here, so I guess really your biggest roll of the dice is Ward versus Fernando Gonzalez, if I'm not mistaken. That's who's getting down, I think, in the co-main event at Bellator 182, headlined by Koreshkov and Chidi and Njokuani. And how about, I've been wondering if anybody thinks Chidi's got a shot. I've been meaning to pick your brain, Dan, on Chidi, but we'll get to that in a sec. All right, I mean, we'll cheer for you, Showtime. I'd cheer for you more if you were in Vegas, because I know it would result in buckets of beer on behalf of yourself. But I wrote it down.
All right, well, I'll see you guys October 7th. I'll be out there that weekend, so pencil me in for that weekend.
All right, bud, you got it.
Oh, all right, guys.
All right, see you. All right.
Bye-bye.
Quick question for both of you. Joby Sanchez was just on the show, and I asked him, what would you tell another fighter that's coming through, mid-20s, good 10 fights under their belt? The reality show's coming up, and it's in your weight class. Do you push them to the reality show, Dana White Contender Series, or other options? What do you do? Man, this guy, I think, validated something I think, and that's that this Dana White Contender Series thing is huge. It's massive. He said he'd tell him to go through that. I liked hearing that because I suspected something about the Dana White Contender Series. From the first day I was there, I was like, why am I as interested in this card when it rivals other cards that are put together on a weekly basis by Showtime, or not Showtime, sorry, Cage Warriors, Titan, LFA, and it's because it's just the UFC. It's Dana White's there. He doesn't have to go look for a fight. When he looks for a fight, he goes, we're going to look at these three. And he really, I know there's the magic of editing, but it looks like he's only really in for one. He's partying the rest of the time. But I've been to this Dana White Contender Series a few times, and I've sat there, and he's watching. You got the two matchmakers watching. Decisions are being made, man. I'm telling you. If you're a fighter and you're listening, go to that thing.
Do you know why?
And Joby went twice.
Plus, you get the media coverage of all the guys that are based here in Vegas that will come and attend and write about you and get you on camera and get the exposure out there. You know,
every fight feels like a title fight. I think that's why it's so enthralling.
It's something about it, man. So what did you think overall? What would you grade it? Your experience at Dana White Contender Series. Let's leave out the Jones thing, but just did you think, wow, this is really something here? Are you as hyped about it like I am?
I loved it because it was digestible MMA. It was a couple of hours. It was just the right amount of fights, great pacing, and these guys are going at it because they literally are fighting for something. There's genuine stakes to get a performance there, and I think apart from the main event, which was a little bit of a dud, every single fighter and every single fight beneath that was a thrilling fight. It was really, really good.
He said they're going to come back, and they're going to come back for longer than 8 weeks, right?
That's right.
He even said he went so far to say, if I could, I'd do it every Tuesday night. Yeah. That's how big it is.
Yeah.
I think from a competitor standpoint, and I've known some people in that hypothetically you just gave, amateurs, 20-something-year-old. A lot of the guys are at that stage right now that I've come up with at Extreme Couture, these young kids, and we've seen them on the Dana White Contender Show. And I agree. I think for the fans, it's that like Shemaikar said, it's trimming the fat. We're getting just the fights, and it's digestible. And I think that translates as far as career paths because again, not just you can get the pay, the Ultimate Fighter, the being away, and all that stuff, all the sacrifice you have to make for the reality show. But furthermore, a complaint from the fighter side is that we don't get the best performances, and we see that as fans. You follow these girls on Invicta, they got into that tough 20, and they're like, oh, this person didn't do as good as they did here, and it's because they don't have their coaches, and they're in the small spot, whereas that same small spot, it's filmed in the same place, Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series, but you're getting better performances because the stakes at hand, like Go said, but also, they can have, their coaches, a corner there, and what you end up hearing, for example, from Boston Salmon, who was sitting in this seat, it felt surprisingly like a sparring match, except I had my support system there. I didn't have to deal with the crowd or the jitters, the fight week, the media, the whole drawn-out process of a regular fight card. Forget the drawn-out process of a tough house where you have a camera in your face and no familiar face at your back. You're getting better performances. So I think it's better for the fighter psychologically through the trip, and then politically and business-wise, I think it works out for them too if you really kind of do that math.
LFA, Titan, Cage Wars, all those promotions, I think they should be a little bit on alert. Now, granted, some of those fighters that don't succeed there might spill over, and they just got exposure, which is good. But it's a good thing because it'll raise the stakes. Pride raised the stakes, or basically raised the performance of the UFC and what they needed to do to overtake Pride. So Strikeforce made a great push towards the UFC before they took them. I think everyone's just going to get better from this. But still, man, this thing's amazing. I look forward to every Tuesday. This is the last Tuesday, and I would have gone last week except my little puppy was sick. But you were going to say something?
Did you get that feeling I was telling you about, that eventually having these fans so close to each other, something may happen?
Yes. I think from what I could tell after speaking to some of the PR staff, this was the most packed that the Tough Gym had ever been, only because everyone's in town for Mayweather McGregor, so there was a lot more media that applied for credentials and things of that nature. But yeah, you can hear everything. It is crazy, like the friends and the family and the support, and you can hear the coaches, scream all the kind of directions and advice to their fighters, and I could see it happening. I could see it happening one day. I could see a clash taking place between family members and friends of the two fighters that are fighting in the cage.
And there's not much security there.
Oh, no.
Yeah. The Armenian guy, I thought for sure.
That's the closest we've ever come to.
Because he kept saying, I guarantee you this fight's ending in the first. And I'm loud and vocal. Hopefully you guys can deal with it. And we got a kick out of it. So they're like, yeah, be yourself, And he was like, you watch, this fight's ending in the first. I'm telling you, it's a guaranteed. I'm always right. And it did in the first, but his guy's the one that got thumped. In fact, wasn't it Callahan? What's his name? Callahan? The curly hair guy?
Yeah, it was.
Was that guy?
O'Malley.
O'Malley. And that guy's already got a fight.
He's
already fighting. Was on Junkie earlier, but he's already got a fight.
He picked up one of the commission's chairs and slammed it on the ground. Like, I thought for sure he was going to get kicked out.
That's what I thought, yeah. Also, Colby Covington gets Damian Maia. Thoughts on that, guys?
Good fight.
Share that with us when we come back. Let's do that. Okay. Let's take this break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93. We will talk about that matchup that was just made. Colby Covington versus Damian Maia down in Sao Paulo. Fight night. Which means I don't remember which one it was. But it's a fight night down in Sao Paulo, and it's like the 3rd or 4th week of October. We'll look at that when we come back. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93. Shemaikar Sandhu, Dan Tom in the house.
idiot. Yeah, you. Can you please tap that rather large fellow on the shoulder and tell him it's time for more MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes? Thank you.
Join SiriusXM Sports for a celebration of National Football Day. We're dedicating August 31st to America's favorite sport, from NFL Radio and Mad Dog Sports Radio to College Sports Nation and Fantasy Sports Radio. Every host on every sports channel on SiriusXM will spend the day celebrating the return of football. Become a part of the festivities on August 31st and join us for National Football Day by tuning into all of your favorite sports shows or by listening anytime on the SiriusXM app. Dan Tom, who's your football team?
Man, I'm not a football guy. I know you guys are gonna.
You don't have a team for the pros?
No, but maybe you guys can help draft me like you've indoctrinated many junkies.
I normally would, but I'm thinking if the Raiders are coming in 3 years, you might just jump with them. Now you have a home team to root for. You know, it's raw and organic.
I could, because that's the problem. I'm from Hawaii, so I always ran into this problem. Basketball used to be my sport, but it was kind of cool. I was like, well, I guess I could pick whoever I like then, right? But yeah, we're going to get a team coming up soon. You're right.
All right. And Shamakar, the NFL's visited London many times, and I don't know if I've asked you this before, but do you have an NFL team you cheer for?
Yeah, so when I first started dating my wife's from Toronto, and she's a Packers fan, so by default, I didn't have an allegiance to any team. I became a Packers fan, and within the first year of becoming a Packers fan, they won the Super Bowl, and also by default, she was a Boston Celtics fan, and I didn't have an allegiance to any NBA team, and then within the first year of me, cheering on the Boston Celtics, they won the NBA championships, and I'm a Spurs fan, as you guys know, and we don't win shit ever. In my entire lifetime, we have never won the Premier League, so to actually, root for a team that actually wins something, it's pretty cool.
Did you see the draw earlier?
No, I'm not that hardcore of a fan. So what draw are we talking about here?
The Champions League draw for the Spurs, the Tottenham Spurs.
Oh, see, I've been
if you
so
can pull it up,
here.
you can tell us what
know.
Group they're in.
I haven't been keeping up with it, so
it was
just earlier today. So
yeah,
might have been about the time you were stumbling back from. Oh, never mind. No, but really, a listener of ours wanted us to ask you about Girl Collection.
Yes. So last night, obviously, one of the big storylines this week is Floyd Mayweather has been hanging out at his gentleman's establishment, Girl Collection. And so me and Mike Bonn of MMA Junkie and a buddy of mine, Eduardo, who's with me on this trip, we thought, let's go check it out. Is he going to be there? And so we got there for around 12.
That's a work trip.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Journalism. So we got there for around 12 o'clock, and we hung around for around, say, 2 to 3 hours. I kept asking, hey, is Floyd here? Is Floyd here? Is he going to be around? Is he coming soon? And we kind of just gave up. I was really tired at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then lo and behold, an hour later at 4 a.m. he turns up, and the folks over at MMA Fighting, Ariel, he got the sit-down interview with Floyd, which is, it is a major storyline this week. This guy is going to have a professional boxing match. It's his retirement fight. The whole world is watching, right? We're only now, a couple of days away. We're counting down the hours, literally. And this dude is hanging out in his own strip club at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It's unbelievable.
And that's what he said he was going to do. He'd done an Instagram post or something. And other than Tuesday, which is their dark day, they're off that day. That's his plan, to be there. Even through Friday or tonight, Friday, which would be post-weigh-in, and then Saturday as a post-fight party. Okay, I get that part, but these next 2 nights, you would think that would really be time to just
But he's done it before
chill.
In the past, right?
The strip club too?
Not necessarily, but strip club, like, what's the big difference? He doesn't drink, right? I mean, he's just hanging out the way he does for other fights. He's always out late. He's used to this routine.
But something
he's out
about
really
like
late. He goes to bed late.
Is it a smoking establishment? Are there any problems there? I mean, I guess he's surrounded by 6 tough hombres.
49 fights, man. I promise you, you've got the recipe.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's true. Maybe it's similar to Mayorga. Hey, look at me. I can smoke cigarettes leading up to the fight.
I think he does it. I think he's outlandish about it because it makes Conor look even dumber when he's beating him up. Because he's saying, not only did I do that, look what I did the night before.
Like Yves Edwards getting on the scale with the burger. It's like that times 20.
What would you be thinking if you're about to fight a guy and you're going through hell? You just had a baby, you've been in training sessions, you're getting beat up, and then you look on the TV and you see the guy you're going to fight is at a strip club at 4 a.m. just partying it up. What does that do to you psychologically? Wouldn't that kind of fuck with you?
Maybe, except Conor's pretty sharp and probably reads it like you do. Like, all right, it's just for show. Conor's also a night owl, so those hours aren't too foreign for him. But, yeah, I would still think that hey, the fact that I was there maybe once during fight week, but every night, I guess that pushes it further. But hey, I was there on Wednesday. Oh, cool, man, you're pretty nutty. How could you do that? But every night, even Friday night after weigh-ins, who knows? Did you hear that now he's being very open about the fact that he plans on betting on himself? The two guys from TMT, they said, one guy said he's putting 50 to make 10. Greg LaRosa, one of their lead guys, was saying he might mortgage the house. Well, these guys, and they do not look like they're batting an eye. They really look like when Floyd says point to the easy work, they're pointing at it. They're basically pointing at the sportsbook window.
What was really telling was when Greg didn't bat an eye and said he's betting the TKO prop specifically.
I listened to that as well. I did. I was listening to that. I was listening to Leonard Ellerby today. But it's that same little trap, where we're going to go out there, we're going to put on a show, and they all go to decision. But how can he go to a decision with this guy? There's no way. That's as ridiculous as Floyd going to a decision with Conor in an MMA fight. There's no fucking way, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no way. James Toney lasted, I couldn't believe he lasted into the third minute. I think that's when Randy got him, the third minute. I thought it'd be over in less than a minute. And somehow it took 3. But this one, there's no way it can go 12. I think the play is Mayweather KO minus 170 right now. Yeah. What do you guys think? KO or decision by Mayweather?
I'm still sticking to decision. I think Conor's got a chin on him. He's in great condition, from what I can see anyway. It's 3-minute rounds versus 5-minute rounds. There's no exhaustion from grappling or anything like that he has to handle. But again, I can still see Floyd kind of just pitter-pattering and just jucking and jiving and doing what he does best and picking him apart over the 12 rounds, but not landing that brutal knockout blow that will just completely sleep McGregor at any point.
I don't think it's this that's going to hurt him. I think it's
the body shots. Okay.
I think the body is going to take too many of them.
Okay. Perhaps.
That was my call. Body shots. The way I broke this fight down last week was like essentially just you look at what Floyd does with long fighters like Corrales to aggressive fighters like Maidana. He freezes him up to the body, and then you look at Conor's posture, which, he has that. His footwork, you can make the arguments of whether it's going to work or not, or this or that, but it's more the posture he carries himself that allows you the in and out movement, and the in and out movement's good for Conor, but that posture extends your midsection and makes it a little harder to take body shots. And now you want to talk conditioning. People are talking about boxing conditioning of arms and bringing into question. I think the more boxing conditioning that people don't realize is the body conditioning you need, which is probably why you see Conor's midsection more ripped than it's ever looked. He looks in fantastic shape coming into this because I think he knows. He's a smart guy. He knows what Floyd's going to want. But I'm with Goes there. I got officially body shots round 8 or 9. I believe someone held me down. I'll say round 9 if you want an exact round.
Wow, that sounds like Hopkins and De La Hoya. Like one of those.
Yeah.
Where he just folded him.
Yeah, I mean, he was freezing Maidana with you. We saw how aggressive Maidana was, and he was freezing him with the body shots in that first fight. It's kind of pick your poison with Floyd. It's how you want to come at him.
Let's take a break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93. When we come back, we'll have UFC flyweight Ray Borg here in studio with us. He's got a big fight coming up at UFC 215 in Edmonton, Canada. It's on September 9th. And again, Demetrius Johnson looking to make history. Ray Borg looking to derail those plans. We'll be right back after this break. Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless. Okay, they polished up their game since that fiasco little video that went viral in the MMA world, at least a few weeks ago, the sumo and all that. They had Dana White and Leonard Ellerby, but right after that, Colin Cowherd started with his show. The one he does with Jason Whitlock, or I guess this one's his own. And he was starting to bring up some points where the, let me see, American ringside physicians, 100 are on board, along with former boxing ref Richard Steele, to say that Conor McGregor is being sent into this boxing ring into an unsafe arena.
Because of the gloves.
The gloves and the matchmaking differential between, you know, somebody who's 49-0 versus someone who hasn't fought.
I kind of agree, but if it were somebody like a Tyson, like a really hard hitter, I would say absolutely. But Floyd just really wasn't that guy, and he's coming off a 2-year layoff. Could it have been better? Yeah, of course. But
another thing that came along with that was he was talking as I was getting ready, so I was trying to capture some of it. But he was saying that Steele went so far as to say that it will be in his mind that an amateur fighter who's making his debut is fighting somebody to the level of Floyd Mayweather, and he may be more inclined to stop it. And we were just talking about the stoppage, the KO stoppage. Like, that to me just got me thinking, that sounds kind of attractive. The body shot talk, all this data that I'm hearing from you guys, from others out there, I'm really starting to feel a lot better than that. Better than I was. You know, Joey Odessa kind of checked me a little bit, and he said, hey, if you just think he's going to win, just put the money out. Let him win, and don't worry about, oh, my God, he got you again, he went to a decision. But, God.
Well, you can do both,
525
right?
to make 100 versus 170 to make 100. I guess, you know, I don't know. That's why those guys have those cojones. They're willing to put that up there. The Maloofs, Odessa, whoever else is doing it.
Well, I think I'm going to bet separately rounds 6, 7, 8, maybe even 9. But you're right. I mean, I guess put your focus on the other ones.
Kind of layer your bet, you mean?
Yeah, why not? Make it fun.
Or, you know, here's an idea that I might do. I might take, you know, 2 safer parlay pieces attached to that minus 550 number. You know, that way it lowers that number a bit. And then separately do a prop inside the distance. So you could potentially hit both, right? Because if he does inside the distance, your parlay is going to catch that you had for Floyd straight money. And your prop will catch too. Or, you know, maybe he doesn't get it inside, so you lose your prop. But your heavy favorite parlay kind of saves you. Again, don't follow my advice. I'm not the best bettor, but that's just kind of an example of layering, or how, you know, I'll tend to do certain bets that, you know, might line up like this when you're looking at an angle for a heavy favorite.
We're waiting on right now UFC flyweight Ray Borg. He's in the hotel. He's just trying to find the studio, so George just slipped out real quick to go grab him. But Dan, what rounds are you betting?
If I had to bet one, it's going to be 9, but in my head, it's 8 or 9 is where I see. Yeah, is where I see Conor's plan A, B, and C have already have played out by then. And then you have time for Floyd too, because again, like Randy Couture, it's a longer version, but Randy Couture took longer to finish James Toney because he cooked him a little bit on the ground, right? He cooked him. He played him a little bit of punches, got him a little tired, then went for the submission. He probably could have got it earlier, but he didn't want to force it, as Randy said. He wanted to give him the full MMA experience. I wouldn't put that past Floyd, but I don't know if it's going to be the full experience by decision. Right now, I think he's just trying to get everybody to bet the lines lower so he can bet on himself for a nice number.
Randy picked his ankle, didn't he, to get him down, I think?
Yes, sir. Yeah. They stood for maybe 30 seconds at the most, just kind of staring at each other, and then he did a low ankle pick.
I remember being really nervous. That's okay. You can go through. I remember being really nervous for that fight, just because it really did feel like MMA's credibility was somewhat on the line, right? This is one of the first. It wasn't the first, because a lot of people forget what happened with Tim Sylvia and all that, but on the big stage, it was the first time where you had a little bit of that crossover. And I did feel like our street cred was on the line a little bit. And I mean, Randy's still got to close the distance, right? He's still got to get in there and survive. Not like Conor McGregor. I mean, this is a big puncher in James Toney. That's how he would hurt people, and I was just afraid he may take one on the way in. And there it goes, right? Still earlier in the sport, you're going to hear shit from all your friends, so it was kind of nerve-wracking. But luckily it worked out for the MMA community.
Yep.
You know what else worked out?
What worked out?
My diligence. I'm a stalker of MMA fighters, and when I hear that they're coming to Sin City, I'm on it. You know what I mean? And so Ray Borg's been on our show before via the phone many times, and now he's in Vegas because later on tonight at the UFC PI, they will have media day for Ray, Demetrius, who are in the main event at UFC 215 on September 9th, and Valentina Shevchenko versus Amanda Nunes. It's dual title fights. Kevin Lee will also be there along with Tony Ferguson because so far they're the headliners at UFC 216 1 month later. So welcome to the studio, Ray Borg. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's cool to be in the studio, not over the phone, man. It's a cool experience.
Yeah, nice to meet you this way. You know, we've had you on the phone before, but getting you here in studio, thank you for making some time for us.
Yeah, no problem, man. Got all right, right off the airplane and right in here, so it's.
I told you I was stalking. I was like, "Where you at? Come on down." Ray, tell us, man. So we're about 3 weeks away from the biggest moment of your mixed martial arts career.
Yeah, you know, we're just about like 2.5 weeks or so away. It's crazy to me, man. It's still very surreal to be to be in this position, in a very short period of time, but also a long road at this same exact time. All the trials and tribulations I've had to get here. So it's to be this close to that moment is just it's crazy to me.
Now, for a while there, it looked like they wanted to go the path of T.J. Dillashaw. You were kind of being left out as a plan B or an option B or whatever. Did you take that personal at all, or how did you feel about, I guess, that? Because it didn't even involve Dana White being asked about it. He got kind of caught up with this whole Demetrius versus Dana White thing. Your name's getting thrown in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't take too much offense to it at all. I just didn't want to be a backup plan. I didn't, I wanted to get the shot, even if it took me, fighting, Pettis or Moreno or whoever it may be, but whether if they did want to give it to TJ or not, I didn't want to be someone's backup plan. But I definitely felt like I earned it, and I've gone through a lot. I've been through a lot. I've had some tough fights. I've won the fights that I've needed to win. And I felt like I deserve it, and it's great that it was granted to me.
Mm-hmm. All right, folks, we are going to go just a couple minutes overtime. SiriusXM audience, you should look forward to more combat sports and entertainment programming. And of course, if you missed any part of the show, it's available on the SiriusXM app, commercial free and in HD quality. The rest of you, head on over to facebook.com/MMA official. The whole show there is available, as well as the overtime here. We're sitting with Ray Borg, UFC flyweight, who is 3 weeks away from fighting the biggest fight of his mixed martial arts career. He will be competing against Demetrius Johnson at UFC 215 in the headline bout out there in Edmonton, Canada. Your co-main event that night will be Amanda Nunes as she defends versus Valentina Shevchenko. So just give us 20 seconds. We're going to do a soft exit, and we'll continue with some overtime. We'll be right back.
I wouldn't sleep a minute away. Oh, the blackjack and poker and the roulette wheel. A fortune won and lost on every deal. All you need is a strong heart and a nerve of steel. Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas with your neon flashing and your one-arm bandits crashing. All those hopes down the drain.
All right, we're continuing here with UFC flyweight Ray Borg, who's in town because of some media. Is that the only obligation that you have, is down at the UFC, or are you getting involved in any of this Mayweather-McGregor stuff?
No, just down here to promote my fight. No, not really here to catch a glimpse of what all the shenanigans that's going on. I don't.
So you're boning out right afterwards.
Yeah, well, I'll be here overnight.
Okay.
I decided to fly out in the morning, just so I don't have to.
Yeah, sticking around Saturday and.
No.
Plunking down 20 G's to watch this mega fight?
No, not at all.
Who you got?
Who do I got?
Yeah.
I got Mayweather.
Who you want?
I don't know. It's hard to say. For the MMA standpoint, obviously I'd go with Conor, but
right.
It's in the end I don't have that much interest in this fight. I would maybe at a sports bar or something. I'm not paying the pay-per-view.
You
it's
don't
crazy.
pay the $100?
Yeah, hell no. But I would be more interested in Conor fighting, Khabib or someone, in the weight class, or Floyd fighting, Triple G or something like that. Floyd versus Conor, there's not much to prove other than, maybe an MMA fighter can hang with a boxer, or a boxer can lose to an MMA fighter, and it's a weird situation. To be truly honest, the fact that Floyd even took this fight to begin with is kind of surprising to me. I mean, because anything really can happen. Although Floyd, You know, boxing is a different game. I really understand boxing. Before, you know, I actually made it into the UFC, I was supposed to have a pro boxing fight. So I spent a lot of time getting ready for a pro boxing fight, you know, sparring, training like a boxer, and I learned the boxing game, and it's so different than MMA. People don't understand that, how different the game is. And if Floyd went in there, came out of retirement, and fought someone like Triple G or anybody like that and lost, he lost to a boxer. If he loses to Conor, he lost to an MMA fighter. So it's a weird situation, man. I'm very surprised that Floyd even took the fight to begin with.
Goes, hold on 1 second. Could you sum it up, though? You said it's different. Just give us the cliff notes. What's the main thing that sticks out as different for the common fan that's listening?
I think, honestly, the biggest difference in MMA, believe it or not, is the pace. You know, the rounds are obviously shorter. There's more rounds, but it's the pace is just insane. It's a lot different than what people would think. You know, people would think because of all the wrestling and jiu-jitsu and all the different assets in mixed martial arts that it would be MMA would be more tiring, but they're just two different types of cardio, and boxing is just a pressure game, and it's a totally different type of cardio, totally different type of training. You know, you've seen boxers come out and say the type of training they do is like, you know, when they spar, you know, it's like 2 times a week or whatever, and it's like a fight. It really is. You know, a lot of good MMA gyms, when we spar, you know, it's more controlled. It's, you know, no one's trying to hurt each other because of all the arts that go into mixed martial arts. If you full out sparred wrestling and jiu-jitsu, you hurt someone. You know, you hurt your teammates. Boxing, you know, experience what it's like to spar as a boxer. It's like a fight. Every time you spar, you are in a fight. And just the whole training process, you know, the timing, the distance, especially the distance. You know, MMA fighters, we can move around, we can, you know, cut angles, we can shoot for takedowns, buy ourselves some time. Boxing's a small square, and, you know, the distance is so different that it's more tiring. You know, it's a lot more pressure.
When did you feel it for the first couple times when you were boxing? Like, was it the 3rd round, the 4th round, the 10th round? When were you like, whoa, this pacing catching up to me? My hips, my thighs, my calves, my anything, my back, my arms are heavy. When did you start hitting these walls?
I honestly, you know, when I first started sparring boxing, I would hit those walls at about the 5th to 6th round. I used to help a lot of pro boxers locally get ready for fights, so when I would spar, I would do like the full 12 rounds with them, and like around the 6th round, just because at first it was everything I threw was just I muscled everything. So every punch I threw, because they were hitting me hard, I was trying to hit them hard back. But the thing about boxers is they know how to hit hard without giving everything into it. You know, like, so for example, when I would spar boxing, I would give everything I had into my punches just to hit them as hard as they were hitting me. And then, you know, 4th round, all that energy being spent into trying to punch the face, and, you know, it wears you out. And, you know, boxers, that's the thing about boxers is they know how to punch hard. It's not, they don't have to be strong. They know how to punch hard. And the biggest thing is, I'll tell people to this day, people say that Floyd's never fought a power puncher like Conor. Shenanigans to all hell on that, because I can guarantee you no one hits hard. Canelo, he did not hit harder than Canelo. Mosley, I'll tell people to this day, I was hit harder by a 14-year-old boxer from Mexico, harder than I've been hit by any man.
Was that in sparring or a street
fight?
Oh, okay.
Sparring. Yeah, wow. A 14-year-old boxer I was sparring, and he hit me harder than anybody's ever hit me in my life. Crazy. It's just crazy. You know, they spend all day boxing. You know, that's what they do. You know, we have to learn all the different.
Why isn't
assets.
this guy on Showtime?
I don't know. This is great analysis.
Like, this is awesome. Literally, all the people we've heard from the MMA world, who I get it, man. MMA, we're MMA. Conor's our guy. We want him to win, but we got to keep it real. But anybody that we've heard analyze it or break it down or talk about it, you're in my top 3 of what I've heard. Like, you know, in regards to what Conor's stepping into, and I'm really rushing to the ATM.
Yeah,
because I got some bets to make. I got some parlays to hit. You know what I mean? That was great analysis, Ray.
Yeah, thank you. But I will say this.
ESPN, somebody, you're available, right?
I am available.
Friday night, Saturday,
Fox
fucking
Sports, someone throw
put this guy on, man. That was great analysis.
I'll be a great analysis. I've said that for a long time. But, you know, one thing I do feel that Conor will actually give Floyd problems with is if he can move like an MMA fighter. I mean, obviously in boxing you can't leave your feet when you punch, but if he can move like an MMA fighter, bounce like, you know, back and forth, cut angles, it might give Floyd some problems. You know, every boxing's a standstill type of game.
I was just going to the ATM. Hold on, now you're scaring me. Now what are you saying?
No, it's Floyd. It's Floyd. Floyd will still take it, I think. But I think the only
kind of angles, like a capoeira type movement,
like a bouncing. Like, you know, boxers, you know, when they move, it's more of a side to side motion. You know, bouncing sometimes. Conor, if he can bounce, it could throw off the rhythm change for Floyd, and it could give Floyd some problems. But, you know, that's the thing about boxing is to be a high-level boxer, you have to be smart. you got to be a smart fighter to box the way Floyd does. You know, to time punches, just even lean back to dodge a punch. That requires so much knowledge for so much fight IQ. It's insane. So I just don't think McGregor. I think maybe McGregor in a couple years of training just boxing can do well against Floyd, but in the short period of time he has to learn the actual boxing game. I didn't even learn the boxing game for like a year. It took me like a year of sparring and get my ass kicked by all these local boxers to understand how to pace myself, how to throw, when to throw, and and things like that. So I think for the short amount of time, it's not enough for Conor to get adapted to boxing.
When you did have those moments, though, did you get your licks in as well? I mean, like how well did you do against these guys?
I did really well, actually. At first it became more of me being tough, and I can just bite down on my mouthpiece, and if they're gonna hit me, I just bite down, smile, hit back, that kind of things. Then as I started to get more into the boxing game, I got a lot better. Like people don't realize that, but I could box. I'm showing it more and more each fight, but I could box, and my boxing definitely went to the next level. But it was funny. I do tell people though, I can't take an ass beating. I have too big of an ego for that. So there's a couple times where one of the best boxers in New Mexico, a couple of those, they were just handing it to me, and I told my coaches I'm not gonna take this much longer. I can't handle this. She's like, well then I'll box them. And I'm like, I'm an MMA fighter. These guys are 20-year plus boxers. There was one time I might have high crotched someone into a double leg. So but that was one time. I just couldn't handle being in the corner, being beaten up for 4 more rounds. But
did you talk any trash? Take that, beachy 14-year-old.
No, but they knew what was up.
Yeah.
Beachy 14-year-old. But no, they knew what was up. They knew that if it ever came to an altercation, a sparring altercation, I have more tools in the bag than they do.
But on your worst day in the boxing gym, did you still feel like you're the toughest guy in that gym no matter what?
I did.
Yeah.
Always.
Did they feel that?
I don't know if they felt it, but they might have knew it. Honestly, and it's the same thing as Conor. How Conor tells Floyd, you need to step into my realm or my game. You should have left me in my game, or we bounce people's heads off the canvas. In a sense, it's true. Boxers are amazing people to their fight IQ and their ability to take punches and give punches. But at the end of the day, MMA fighters, if I'm tired of taking punches to the face, I'm gonna take you down and I'm gonna put you in a a headlock or an armbar, and I'm just gonna make you quit. So just the different amount of tools in the bag is a big difference.
There's going to be a moment, I believe, in this fight where Conor McGregor, never really being in that situation, is going to look across the ring and he's going to say, holy shit, that's Floyd Mayweather. And it happens to a lot of guys in mixed martial arts, especially when the Pride guys started to come over, right? People go, holy shit, that's Vanderlei Silva. For you, you've been in situations like this, but at some point, do you think you'll have that little thought, holy shit, that's Demetrius Johnson. I've been looking at this guy.
Yeah, as soon as you said that's going to happen to McGregor, it's going to definitely happen to me. I've been watching DJ since the WEC days. I was actually talking to my coaches. I believe when the flyweight division first got announced in the UFC, I was like 16 or 17 years old. I was just a kid, and he's just someone I had my eye on for a very, very long time. But at the end of the day, I've been putting in so much into this game for a very long time that at the end of the day, no matter who he is, he still has what I want, and that's what's going to kind of snap. I'll snap for a second like, holy crap, even today, facing off with him, it's going to be like, holy crap, I'm facing off with Demetrius Johnson, a guy I've watched my whole entire career. And then that's going to go away immediately, and it's going to be like, all right, well, you know what? Demetrius has what I want. He has what I've been working for my whole entire life. So that switch is going to go on, and it's going to be a totally different ballgame.
What do you feel like you're bringing to this fight that when we look at some of the other challengers, they didn't bring?
I definitely bring a lot of different skill sets for sure. I mean, he's fought a lot of good grapplers, good wrestlers, good boxers, whatever, but he's never fought a complete package. I don't feel like no one's really wanted this fight the same way I've wanted this. Like, this is all I know. This shit is all I know. Fighting, it's all I know. And it's, it's something that I want this in a way that no one else has ever wanted this before. And not only that, he has never fought a young kid like me. A young kid with so much health, so much, so much on his shoulders and nothing to lose. That's the scary part for DJs. All these guys, they needed a title shot because they were at the end of their career. The time was starting to close to where if I don't get a title shot, if I don't win the belt, my time's going to start to pass. I'm 24. I just turned 24. I ain't got a thing to lose, and that's going to make an even more dangerous fight for Demetrius Johnson.
Ray Borg here, our guest. Let me turn it over to Dan Tom, our other co-host. Dan, what do you have for Ray?
Hey, Ray. I love the parallels between, Mayweather and even DJ. I think a lot of people don't understand a lot about MMA or boxing can understand that we're dealing with, two of the greatest names in a similar sense. Sure, DJ's been beaten before, unlike Mayweather, but more specifically, the difference between what Conor's trying to do for what you're trying to do, to put in more of a hunting type analogy, which I know you like, the difference is terrain. Now, you guys are both hunting, borderline mythical animals, but the difference is, Ray, you're going to be hunting, through mountains that, granted, again, you're chasing a special animal here. It's not a normal animal, but you're going through at least going through the same mountains. So maybe, getting ready for this hunting trip, what you're going to bring for lures, what kind of equipment you're going to bring for offense, what you're going to bring to support your camp, as far as using these, forgive the hunting analogies here. Is there anything different, though, that, you can't give away game plans, but as far as, using that kind of analogy there, you're preparing for the biggest hunt of your life, correct?
Yeah. If you want to put it into hunting terms, I guess a great way to put it is I'm not going to be hunting on a private ranch. I'm going to be hunting in the mountains. I'm going to be hunting in the wild. This is going to be different. You fight you hunt on the ranch, and you set yourself up, and it's just so little bit of land. They're going to come to you, and you're gonna take out what you need to take out. I'm going to have to go searching. I'm going to go all up and down these mountain signs to find, what I need to find and get the job done. So, I'm going to be out in the wild, and I'm going to search for whatever it is I need to get, and I'm going to hunt it down, and I'm going to tackle it, I'm going to take it out.
See, that's compelling to me. This kind of a hunt's really compelling to me. And, I really hope they start giving you some more spots like this because, man, your analysis really spot on, even with the, talking about getting frustrated with going certain guys and this and that. Not to get back onto that track, but like against boxers and whatnot, because people are talking about, will Mayweather go for the disqualification. So just kind of hearing you break things down is really, really awesome, man. I hope to hear kind of you expand more of this side. This is really, really awesome getting a chance to hear that side of you.
Yeah, definitely, man. That'd be pretty cool. I've been, like I said, if you guys want to talk fighting, boxing, whatever it is, hunting, I'll talk all day. But if you guys want to talk something else like gambling, I'm lost. Yeah. You guys lost me on that kind of stuff.
I have to tell you are a big underdog in this fight. Everybody's feeling like DJ's going to do what DJ do, and that's
of course. I've expected my own family to feel that way. It's natural. Just like everyone else, thinks Floyd's going to win because he hasn't been beaten. It's just, and for example, I hate to get on a touchy subject, but John Jones, every time he would go into a fight, I would, no matter how good the guy is, I would always say John's gonna win, and they asked why. I was like, honestly, I just don't see him losing. He's been so dominant for so long. Same with Anderson. I just don't see him losing, and I know that's how people are gonna feel against DJ. DJ's mopped the floor with everybody. It's just gonna be natural for them to be like, oh, DJ's gonna win. Why wouldn't he? He just beat everybody. But that's cool. At the end of the day, it don't matter to me.
What's that sweeter?
What's that?
Does it make it sweeter though?
It does. It's gonna make it so much funner. And I'm not gonna be the kind of guy to get on the mic and say I told you so and things like that. I'm just not gonna be surprised.
What's it been like in Albuquerque, this Jones story?
Crazy.
Is he regarded like? He's not from there, born there, or anything, but he's lived there for a good 5 years maybe now, and so is he considered like a local hero? And
he's a very, very big part of the community. A lot of people hold their heads up high and like to say he's from there. Some people actually don't even know that he's not from there. A lot of people think that from Albuquerque, think that he's from Albuquerque. So he's actually plays a really big role in the community, not because, of who he is, but because someone at that caliber was willing to come to Albuquerque, a small town that from people know on the news is a crazy town, a wild town. For someone of that caliber to want to come down to Albuquerque and make a career in Albuquerque, he's a big role in the community. So, I haven't talked to too many people other than like teammates and coaches and things like that, but the situation's kind of crazy. More people are bummed out than mad, to be honest.
Do you know him well?
I don't know him like well. He's spoken to me. He said some kind words to me and things like that. But I've never hung out with him for more than like 10 minutes.
Ray, we got to close up here. We appreciate you making some time for us. I want you to enjoy a little bit of Vegas. Hit them blackjack tables or whatever, or the pool before you head on over and do your responsibilities. But one last thing here. We always ask our in-studio guests if they can share a good street fight story with us.
Oh, man. The only good street fight story I really have is it's not even that great on me. It's my sister.
You lost?
My sister looked better than I did.
Right,
we were in Tucson, and we lived in the ghetto a lot, and there's this kid always talking crap. And my dad would always get drunk and, challenge me to fight people and things like that. And he told me, he goes, Ray, that kid was talking crap. You need to go beat him up. So I grab that kid. I pick him up, start beating the crap out of him. He's all bleeding. We're fighting each other. And he gets up all crying, and he's all upset. and then he feels like he needs to take a look at my sister. And as my sister's walking by, he calls her a name. And
how
then,
old were you?
3rd grade.
3rd grade, okay.
I was
you
little.
said he needs to take a look at your sister?
Lick.
Punch.
Yeah, like, well, like, you know, swing, like a mental swing. So he told my sister, you know, that she was a bad name, and she turned around and just hit him with, like, everything she had. And it was more degrading for me because he, like, went out and he fell. He was, like, damn near unconscious, and I was over there trying to beat the crap out of him.
Oh, everything you did, he still was able to get up, and then your sister one-hitter quitter?
One-hitter quitter. But, you know, me and my sister, we're from a rough part, so, you know, my sister's got that little bit, maybe even a little bit more inner gangster than I have, so, you know, she's crazy. But
Does she fight?
No, she should.
Yeah.
She probably do really well in it. But
really?
Yeah.
That kid must have been salty, right?
Yeah, did the word get around? His street cred must have went down a little.
Her street cred went up.
No, but his went down, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a little ponytail in the back of his hair did not help his street cred anymore.
That was a good story. That was unique.
Yeah, thank you.
Good stuff. All right, Ray, is there anything you want to say to your fans, your supporters? You want to plug your social media, anything before we let you go, or maybe even a final message for DJ?
Just check me out, you know, on Instagram, Twitter, TazMexUFC, and you know, anything you guys want to see happen to DJ, or, you know, you guys interested in playing it out, just tune in September 9th. You know, I'm not going to talk too much. I'll just show you guys.
That's what's up. All right, folks, we are done. Want to thank our earlier guest, Joby Sanchez, and, of course, Ray Borg here, along with co-host Shamak Karsandu, Tom stepping in as well. Thank you, Danny, for staying overtime. Goes, you did a great job. I took it to another level. That was fantastic. Shout out to Carla. Regardless, we love her. But, God damn it, I really wanted her to come on just for a few minutes. So now it's on my bucket list because we got to get her on at some point.
We'll make it happen.
Carla Duran, daughter of the legendary Stitch Duran. All right, folks, we'll see you all tomorrow. Stipe Miocic will be on the show. We'll see what else we can gather up before then. So tune in at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Until then, go out there and be champions.